Bum 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 bum. The Peter Light Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, I've been in Taiwan for three weeks at the moment, and I want you to continue to pray for a potential career pivot for me. Next week, I have another job interview coming up next week. And one thing I've noticed is that here in Taiwan, bad things can happen, just like they can in the United States, right? I'm staying in a hostel. I have two roommates so far that were not exactly the nicest people, right? It happens, just like it happens back home in the United States. Yesterday, one rather aggressive, I want to say Korean guy, didn't speak very good language of English or Chinese, so I couldn't understand what he was doing. He said something about the amount of noise. I don't know what he was talking about. Perhaps I was snoring in the room. He was not nice about it, and he slapped me in the leg and proceeded to take my covers away from me. Like, stop it, the noise, something like that. And one thing I've noticed is that, yeah, that's not dissimilar from bad roommates I have in the United States. But what is dissimilar is that I have a lot less background stress to begin with. What do I mean by background stress? Well, here in Taiwan, cost of living is a lot less. I'm eating a whole lot better. I can actually afford to eat out much more so than the United States. And even though the hostel's not exactly the best living, it beats what I was doing back home in Phoenix. In Phoenix, often a good half of the year I'm living out of my car when the weather permits, right? I don't have to resort to doing that here in Taiwan. In fact, to do that would probably be more expensive. Car ownership is really expensive here in Taiwan, I would imagine. Uh, and so I have a lot less stress in the background. And so when these things happen, uh, they don't ride on. Like today, I lost my passport, if you could believe it. I hope it will turn up. It's Sunday. They're not very busy in Tom's Flight. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to go there, and it's an adventure. You know, it gives me an excuse to go back to Tom Sway. If I have to go apply for a new one, now that's an adventure. Yeah, how often do you get to explore all these things? And that's how I feel. I mean, but that's because I don't have this mountain of background stress constantly there. Over back home in Phoenix, I feel like I'm constantly living on the edge. It doesn't take very much to push me over the limit. Here, the very same circumstance gets colored very differently. The pace of life is slower. And also because of the lower cost of living, I could actually afford to have a social life as well. I couldn't back home. To give you an idea, how I teach at a community college, and we have a dining hall. I would love to eat there more often. And while I was negotiating the contract, I spun it a little bit. I told the hiring manager, hey, one thing that would be nice is if we had some meal plan or something. If I could get some kind of a plan, that way I can get a better sense of networking with people. After all, building good rapport with the students is very valuable too. That's how I spun it, and I think the hiring manager agreed, but he didn't have a way to broker such a deal. It's not very open-minded people. If you guys have any suggestions on how to spin it the next time around, feel free to leave a suggestion. But aside from wanting to network more people, I also feel greatly insulted that I can't even afford to eat where I fucking work. It's not like I want to eat out at a 5-star restaurant every day. All I ask for is to be able to afford to eat where I fucking work in order to do my job better. It's really I think the school is losing by not giving me such a meal plan, because after all, good rapport with the students is good for the school too. It's really a lose-lose proposition. Anyway, I live right because Even with the situation with losing the passport today, with almost getting into a fight yesterday, I have a good solid foundation to stand on to navigate all of these issues, and it makes me want to improve my circumstances back home too, so I can live like this. Right? I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm a bad person, but when I have a bad circumstance, these things are just so difficult to navigate. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like the constant state of emergency hinders my good judgment a lot of times. That's how I'll say it. Feel free to leave a comment if you agree or disagree with that. This is the Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum.